Hey everyone, and welcome back to Wealth Up. February is officially over, and you know what that means. It's time for another budget review and net worth update. As always, I'm here to share my financial journey with you, both the triumphs and the occasional stumbles. This month, we'll be diving deep into my February spending, analyzing where my money went and how well I stuck to my budget. Did I manage to stay on track with my financial goals? Did any unexpected expenses pop up? We'll be uncovering it all. But before we jump into the nitty-gritty, I'm also excited to share an update on my overall net worth. Did it see any positive changes this month? Let's embark on a financial transparency journey through February. For this, let's jump into the spreadsheet. This is the spreadsheet that I use for keeping track of my spending for the month of February. In the top section, I've noted down my income. My first paycheck of the month was for $3,250, and my second paycheck was $3,350. This happened because I made a change to my 401k contributions. I also had leftover money from January that I have noted here as rollover. It was $161.71. This brings the total income for the month of February to $6,761.71. Now, as I shared in my spending plan for the year, I have several investments and savings that are automated. The first one noted here as automated investments. This is money that goes into the stock market. For the month, it was $1,500. I'm also boosting my emergency fund this year, so I added $1,000. And I set aside $500 for tax and insurance. This is in a high yield savings account, and it is a sinking fund that I use to cover these expenses. Next are my household expenses. My mortgage is $1,100. My electricity bill this month was $20. I did change service provider halfway through the month, which is why the bill was lower than normal. My gas bill was $30, water was $60, internet was $55, and student loans was $200. In the next section, you'll see my monthly expenses in the varying category. They can vary significantly month to month, and I keep track of these in the right-hand side. In the fun money category, I spent $219 on dinners and hanging out with friends. I also had a $53 donation to charity. And my subscriptions totaled $4.32. In the home expenses category, I have groceries. I went to 3 different stores, Aldi, Kroger, and Costco, and you can see there how much I spent. I also had expenses for the house, some at Lowe's and some at Amazon. This was for taking care of some lawn and some organization. In this category, I also take note of my gas expenses. So for the month, I spent $80. This is in total $718.81, which is actually higher than what my target expense is, but we'll come back to this in a moment. In the next category is self-care. My spending for the gym was $155 for the month and $60 for massages, bringing the total to $215. I also added $1,000 to my travel sinking fund for the month. In addition, I did have a business expense where I had to buy some things at Best Buy for $113.64. This does not come out of my monthly budget. It comes out of my business, but I like to make note of it here just to make sure that it stays under control. Now, if we go back to this section, you'll see that all of the numbers are updated here. Because I had a small amount of rollover from January, and my fun money and self-care were lower than the target, that covered the additional money that I spent in the home expenses category. This shows how much money is left over to spend compared to the target. Because this number is in the positive, that means I still had $86.58 to spend. This will roll over into the month of March. Now we'll come over to the spending plan. This might look familiar to some of you that watched the spending plan that we put together earlier in the year. Let me take a moment to update it. I just spent less than a minute going through each row to ensure that it was properly documented. You can see that I have $86.58. Again, this will be rolled over into March. Now let's look at my net worth. I use a spreadsheet to keep track of my net worth for the year. You can see the January numbers are already in here. To calculate my net worth, I keep track of my liabilities, which are comprised of my mortgage and student loans. In the next section are my assets, which are anything that I could sell for value. For these, the categories are my houses, car, investments, and cash. Now let's update it with the numbers for February of 2024. Are $315,500. My student loans are $11,180. Bringing my total liabilities for the month of February to $326,680. Now let's look at my assets. The houses combined are valued at $480,400. The car still $12,000. In reality, according to Kelley Blue Book, the value is substantially higher, but I'm most comfortable keeping it at $12,000. My investments are $491,000, and I also have $25,200 in cash. The cash went down compared to January because I had some property taxes that I had to pay early in the month. Now let's see what this totaled. For January, the value of my assets was slightly over $1 million. The next thing to do is to subtract the value of the assets minus the liabilities to see what my net worth is. For the month of February, this totaled $681,920. This is an all-time high for me, and it's encouraging to see the progress that I've been making over time. I hope you found this video informative and maybe a little inspiring. Remember that everyone's financial journey is unique, and what works for me might not work for you. The important thing is to be mindful of your spending, set realistic goals, and celebrate your progress along the way. If you have any questions or comments about my budget or net worth, feel free to leave them down below. I'm always happy to chat and learn from others on their financial journeys as well. As always, thank you for joining me. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel for more personal finance content coming soon. Until next time, happy spending!